China, Russia, North Korea, Cuba, they all want America to fail. The question is, are we going to let them? I'm Pete Seat, and this is Right on Cue. Walter Isaacson, writing ahead of America's 250th birthday and nodding to that famous exchange between John Hancock and Benjamin Franklin, asked a relatively simple question. Quote, when there are so many forces dedicated to dividing us, how can we best hang together? End quote. At least in the excerpt that I read, he didn't really answer the question. So I've been thinking about it myself. But first, who is attempting to divide us? Well, we're pretty good at doing that on our own. Republicans try to divide Democrats, Democrats try to divide Republicans. Internal attempts at division are rampant and continue apace. The external efforts, though, are what worry me the most. Our largest and most dangerous geopolitical adversaries want America weaker, angrier, more distracted, and less confident. The journalist Henry Luce famously called the 20th century the American century. China, more than anyone, would like this 21st century and every century after it to belong to Beijing, to be China's centuries. They want our 250th to be the beginning of the end of our century and the beginning without an end of theirs. To achieve this, China uses money, infrastructure, coercion, and influence to pull developing nations out of our orbit and into theirs. Russia does its part to divide our attention and exhaust our will by invading sovereign neighbors. North Korea and Cuba survive by opposing the American led order. While their strategies and tactics are somewhat different, all of them understand something important. And that is, they don't have to defeat America if they can convince Americans to defeat each other. That's why misinformation and disinformation matter in this conversation. That's why foreign adversaries exploit every cultural fight, every political grievance, every institutional failure, every moment when Americans stop seeing each other as neighbors and friends and start seeing each other as enemies. These countries take one of our greatest strengths, our diversity of thought, and try to weaponize it against us. Which makes me wonder, why do people fall for it so easily? Why do so many Americans trust whatever crosses their screen if it confirms what they already want to believe? Well, that's a topic for another day. For today, I keep coming back to Isaacson's question. How do we hang together? The honest answer is, I don't know if there's one big, satisfying answer anymore. We've allowed every wedge issue to divide us, every cultural flashpoint to separate us, and every political milestone to expose our differences instead of reminding us what we still share. But maybe the answer doesn't have to be something big or something grand. Maybe it starts smaller. We don't have to agree on everything to understand, at least I hope, that America's success is better than America's failure. We don't have to like every politician, every policy, every election result to recognize that China, Russia, North Korea, Cuba, and others are not rooting for one American faction over another. They're rooting against all of us. And until we remember that, our adversaries will keep pouring gas on the fire because they know something we seem to forget. A divided America is easier to weaken. A united America is much harder to beat. I'm Pete Seat, and that was Right on Cue.